if we don't think that Carlee's redeemable, no wonder mass incarceration persists. Hey you all, I am Amani Sawari. I am a community organizer, and I just wanted to give my perspective on a situation I've been hearing about. News is still coming out about what happened, and I hope that they stop. Let's get into it. I've watched and read, and I just want to give my perspective because I hear a lot of people giving comments that are frustrating for me. Her disappearance. Now, she did disappear. I'll say that. There's no alleged disappearance. But kidnapping is where the discrepancies lie. I hear a lot of people saying she should be under the jail, or, you know, why aren't the cops going after her? And I just think that language is really problematic. We shouldn't continue to use a broken system to try to fix broken people. And I want to argue against that narrative and really question that in Carlee's case, because she is a scholar, she is a student, she's going into nursing. We need her around. We need her. We need to actually want to fix what's going on instead of just tossing everything into the wind. And so I want to break down what happened in this case. Not necessarily what happened in this case, but just the way that people are responding to it and negate against it. And while I do it, I'm going to be taking down my hair. All right, so I put my hair in some dookie braids with twists on the end because that's my staple. I read a few articles, some of the more popular ones. Media is making a lot off of this story and continually reporting on it and trying to unravel what happened. Honestly, I don't really see the point. Meanwhile, in the background, my cats are playing. So please, 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 ignore that sound. I'm going to start off with the New York Post. They posted an article on the 22nd of July. And the main premise of the article was the fact that, at least for Black people, there was a community-wide understanding that something must be off because she left her wig in the car. She also left her phone and her purse in the car, which a lot of people would consider necessities that someone wouldn't just leave. So I don't understand that argument, and I'm a Black woman who has worn wigs. I can see it, but I don't think that it's that strong of an argument. And this video isn't to prove that she did she did disappear. She did. But this video isn't necessarily to prove that she was kidnapped. It's just to first negate this understanding that's bubbling up that people should be arrested if the police don't believe what they're saying, or that if more information comes out that discredits the original information, that they should be arrested. That's the thing. Like, if we've already wasted enough money on trying to look for her, why are we going to put more into caging her, which does cost a lot of money? Also apprehending her, sending officers over there, when we know that she's not a dangerous person. Earlier than that article, CBS was reporting it as it was just like discovered, and questions started coming out about the story itself. So her disappearance was on the 13th. I think that's when the police were called. And she was recovered, known to be back home on the 15th. So for 2 days, her whereabouts were unknown, but there was no reporting at that time. In her local community, there were searches. There was a whole search squad that was gathered up to try to look for her. So I'm not saying that no one cared during those 2 days. What I'm saying is there were no national reports about her being missing. So CBS reports that she was on the phone with her sister-in-law when her sister-in-law heard her scream and called the police. 5 minutes after that phone call, the police came to the scene. They found her phone, her purse, and her wig in the car. They could not find her. They also said that the snacks that she bought, and that's another thing, before the police were called, She went to the gas station and she got some Cheez-Its and some granola bars. So the police said, we don't see any Cheez-Its or granola bars in the car. I know for myself that if I was getting a quick snack, if I was getting some Cheez-Its, I could eat those on the drive. I could eat those on my way out of the parking lot. Like, I don't see how that's like all this. Her wig is not missing, but the Cheez-Its are. I don't think that that's like so striking what these news articles are reporting. It's not making sense why they're highlighting these different things. And the New York Post in their report are like, the Black community discovered this. The fact that the wig is still there. That is what tipped off everything, all the dominoes falling. It's just weird. Who knows? But after the police were called, a search team was put together. There was a $50,000 reward for her being found, and $25,000 of those, half of that, were raised by the Keller Williams Realty. $25,000 was raised by a real estate company to try to find her, along with another $5,000 from Crime Stoppers, and then there was $20,000 from another group that I can't think of right now. But I just thought that Keller Williams raising the most, half, was interesting. So first we have CBS posting about what's going on, a timeline of sorts, and then New York Post interviews some hairstylists in the Alabama area, and they break the story or the big kink about the wig, and then following that, CNN does a story. Their press is mainly about how this Black woman is misusing our police force, is detrimental, and taking away from the resources that are available to all these other missing Black people. Way to frame everything. Like, it's kind of gross. Like, there's a lot of missing Black people because this country does. Black people are under-resourced. Our communities are under-resourced. We don't have the same education programs, and there are just a lot of people who are dealing and suffering with mental illness and instability that end up in terrible situations due mainly to domestic violence and human trafficking. We're so desensitized to that as a country, and that's just the culture of this country. It doesn't have anything to do with Carlee, and it doesn't have anything to do with so-called fake reports. I think anyone who's willing to call the police for anything, there's something going on. It's either what they're saying or what they're not saying, but something is going on. If you have the desperation of dialing 911, if you have the desperation of dialing it, then something's going on. I know nursing school is really hard. In college, my roommate was a nursing student, and even watching her study, I was just like, wow, like, I'm in the law and public policy program, and I'm grateful. That mainly came from watching the work she had to do. I wouldn't call Carlee someone who's beyond redeemable just because she's a nursing student. She wants to serve people in the most intimate of ways that she don't even know personally. She's willing to do that. She's willing to work hours on end. She's willing to study nights on end. She's willing to do overnighters in a place full of people dealing with physical trauma. I know I'm not. Are you? If we don't think that Carlee's redeemable, no wonder mass incarceration persists. We cannot be saying throw this girl into the jail. That is absolutely inappropriate. And Carlee is redeemable. And this situation isn't just out of nowhere. We need to create our own systems. And we already are. CNN mentioned, and I really appreciated this about CNN's story, instead of just sulking over Carlee, they actually brought up other people who have been reported missing, who haven't gotten the attention they deserve, like Daniel Robinson. Daniel Robinson's family put together a search team for him because the police weren't doing anything, and they felt like they needed to do something, and they combed the desert looking for him. Now, there still hasn't been any updates on his case, but these types of systems We have the resources to create them for ourselves, and then we don't have to go through not only disclosing all of this sensitive information to a force that was created to persecute us, but also going through the trauma of rejection by a group that we're told is to protect and to serve. That there once was a force that was dedicated to protecting Black communities, and that was the BPP, and they were eradicated. They were eradicated. And I'm not saying that to discourage people from creating systems, but I'm just saying the systems exist and they're not well resourced in this society just because of my cats. They're not well resourced in this society because this society does not put resources towards Black communities. So this story is being amplified in a way that is hurtful. And so following that story, there's a local news reporting radio, WVTM, and an anchor writes a report whose main source is an attorney that works with the police department that was investigating Carlee's case. Attorney Guster, okay? And he says his entire article focuses on his thinking that Carlee should be arrested and his questioning why she has yet to be arrested or why the police haven't taken action against her. The police waste their own time and resources. They spend $2 billion. I'll say that they waste over $1 billion on the state prison system due to over-incarceration because they want to. They enjoy watching people suffer. They spend money on that. Okay, but the police department, they waste their own money. So if they don't respect their own funds, why should we? And they overspend anyways. It wouldn't be looked at as a waste of money if they looked at the fact that the Black community actually felt prioritized and valued in that locale because of their immediate response. They could just look at it as like community building, strengthening their relationships with the local region, but they don't care about that. They don't care about that. And another thing that reporting to the police will decrease as a result of this, and I hope that it does, because even if you report and you're going through a mental breakdown and you say something that isn't exactly accurate or you misrepresent some aspect of the story, you could be punished. So I don't see them as a really helpful resource, especially for people of color. I just don't. And if they feel like it's a waste of resources to even seem like they care, to even seem like they're investing in our community time or effort, then what's the point? Maybe she's covering for something else, but it's obvious that she needs some support. So let's dive into solutions while I take out this last bit of twist and fluff my hair. So when thinking about the carceral system, just caging people, you're taking people who didn't have access to resources that resulted in the behavior that occurred that led to their conviction, and taking away all their resources, all of their family connections, all of their hobbies, all of their employment, all of the value of life. You're taking it all away, putting them into a cage, and then squeezing that cage with daily dehumanizing tasks and interactions. Tasks such as, the jobs that you get that are dehumanizing in the fact that you get paid like pennies on the dollar, or like dehumanizing interactions such as not being called by your name or having something taken away from you, that on top of having all your resources and connections taken away. So when thinking about alternatives, like what should we as a society do with Carlee now that this has happened, and people who might also be in that situation? What should we do? There are other things that we can do in community court systems. We don't need to rely on the state's system if it doesn't work for us. And this situation highlights how it doesn't work. It doesn't work when you call for a reason that you think is worthwhile. It doesn't work when you call to cover up for some BS. It doesn't work when you don't call. Like, it just doesn't work. It's already come up, and I think it's really important to note that she should have access to some type of therapy, psychotherapy, mental health therapy, mental health treatment. And that could look like one-on-one, or that could look more like group healing circle type of care. And the closest thing that we have to a healing circle in the United States is like intervention, or like what looks like, AA uses some of those sort of dynamics. I don't think she'd be addicted to anything or on any substances, because nursing school is pretty strict about that, especially when you get to like the practicum portions. I hope people stop cyberbullying you, Carlee. I hope that this doesn't come across as cyberbullying. I actually support you. I stand with you as well. I stand with you as a woman who has been persecuted by the society that she lives in, while also trying to serve it endlessly with everything. And I've also had breakdowns. I've also broken down. Now, I didn't call the police because I'm adverse to doing that. I think we all get there. And for someone to just be like, oh, she's attention seeking. If getting attention is the solution, then why not give it to her? Why not put her in a space with people who love and care about her and shower her with attention? Give her accolades on her accomplishments. Why don't we give young people flowers? She was doing amazing before this. Let's look at her life up until this point and see where we could have offered some praise or accolade that would have negated her even thinking that, assuming this is alleged that she did this because of a guy, having a guy's attention by all means necessary would be the solution. Some people are there. These are the earrings that I'm going to put in because this is a web of madness. It matches my lacy situation. I'm just gonna do a teeny little bun situation like that. Teeny bobini. That is because it gives a little bit of pompadour. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed it.